O God, come among us and be our companion in life, that we may not be the instrument of our own or of another person's oppression. Amen. To give birth to a child is an ordinary thing, and yet it is an extraordinary thing. It happens somewhere in the world every moment across the face of this planet, our island home. There is labor and pain. There is a cry, and life begins. It is repeated time and again. It is commonplace and a part of everyday life, and yet it is a wondrous miracle. Today, we celebrate the birth of a particular child, the infant Jesus, born to Mary and Joseph of Nazareth, a Jewish couple of the lower classes, from an insignificant backwater hamlet, who have traveled 90 miles to another dusty hamlet, Bethlehem, a few miles south of Jerusalem. It is a familiar story that we celebrate. A bright star and angels lead others to the birthplace. Learned men, perhaps wealthy and powerful, and the shepherds, who were at the bottom of their society, all seeking a child whose destiny changes the world. For us, for all of humanity, who often choose to walk in the darkness of fear, anger, bigotry, and selfishness, a star pointed the way to a great light. These witnesses to this birth represent the aspects of this child's life for us. As the angels witnessed to God's presence in Jesus, so Christians throughout the ages welcome Jesus as a sign of God among us. The shepherds, who come from the marginalized of their society and went to seek this holy child in a stable, so we know millions of marginalized people today seek God and have found in Jesus their hope for life with dignity. Learned and rich persons, the three magi or wise men, bear gifts of wealth, power, and life, who symbolize God calling us to manage and use our resources for the commonwealth of others. All this because in the person of Jesus, God is fully present to transform life so that all of us can have a new beginning. In this baby Jesus, we are offered a new beginning from our God, who gives it to us with love, who's reaching out to us, to all of humanity. God who chooses to dwell among us in a new, generous, and loving way. The noted theologian Howard Thurman wrote in what's called his master meditation, The Growing Edge. He wrote, quote, "Christmas is a mood, a quality, a symbol. It is never merely a fact. It is the brooding presence of the eternal spirit, making crooked paths straight, rough places smooth, tired hearts refreshed, dead hopes stir with new life. It is the promise of tomorrow at the close of every day, the movement of life in defiance of death, and the assurance that love is sturdier than hate, that right is more confident than wrong, that good is more permanent than evil," unquote. In this birth, God comes to us as one of us, the Messiah in Hebrew, the Christ in Greek, meaning the anointed one, fully human and fully divine. This holy day is not just a birthday celebration. It is a celebration of our reconciled relationship with God, a celebration at the heart of human longing, so that no one, not one of us, not even our enemies, no one is cut off from the love of God forever. This day reconnects us to the presence of God so that love and courage is born within us to face our deepest fears, to face our abiding anger, our resentments, and our self-centeredness. This day comes in the midst of 3 pandemics this year: the pandemic of COVID, the pandemic of racism, and the pandemic of lies, distortion, and conspiracy theories. This day comes in the midst of the violence, disappointment, anxiety, fear, and pain that we have in life, which entraps and separates us from God and each other. But this day is a gift of love, compassion, forgiveness, and reconciliation. This holy feast of the incarnation of God in the infant of Jesus is a fulfillment of that longing in all of us, of wanting to be connected, accepted, and embraced. Most of all, this is a festival of intimacy with God, who sought to dwell with us in creation, a divine intimacy that erases time and distance, that brings us to that manger, and did bring us to that manger 2,000 years ago. Yes, we were there 2,000 years ago. We were there, for God took us there. You and I were held in God's own mind and heart. That is how God seeks to be with us. Mary and Joseph, surrounded by cattle and sheep and smelly shepherds, and we were there, intertwined in the light and in the air. God's own heart brought us there and held us there in Bethlehem at that precious and most holy moment of the incarnation. God with us, Emmanuel. Like separate strands and threads woven together to make cloth, much like the swaddling cloths that were on Jesus as an infant. We are connected in the woven fabric of God's love, a love that reaches deep into our being, joining us to heaven and heaven to us on earth. Joining us so that we would be healed, to heal us of our past, to engage us with the whole truth, to strengthen us for the future, to embrace us in love, to free us so that we can hope again. This is the feast of God's love. God, who not wanting to judge us, does not judge against us, but judges for us. Today, God invites us into the realm of wonder, the realm where even ordinary moments, mundane activities, the rich, the famous, the poor, the humble, and enemies, all are turned towards love, so that we might do justice, make peace, and be agents of God. This holy day, the angels are calling us to awake and join the shepherds and discover the glory of God. In the midst of our ordinary life, we are now joining with Mary and Joseph, mangy shepherds, 3 mysterious magi, for an extraordinary, transforming journey. Today, God comes to us, not in the rush of words, not in pomp and circumstance, not in thunderbolts or even in the convenience of a drive-through. God comes to us as a babe, a living gift of God's spontaneous love. This holy day, we witness the miracle of love. This holy day, we proclaim the miracle of love. This holy day, we live the miracle of God's love. And on this day of God's transforming love, we begin again, anew, with God.